Hello, Valerie with a Y back again today. And today, in our gameful learning moment, I thought I would talk a little bit about customer service because I had two interesting customer service experiences recently. I apologize if this makes you hungry, but both of the stories are going to involve food. But what was interesting about them was how much we could take from everyday experiences like I had and apply them to our learning experiences or see how they connect and find ways that we could be more engaging because customer service really does it. Places that do really good customer service really have put a lot of effort into it. They've thought about it. They've created experiences that we appreciate, that we want more of, and we can leverage that. We can look at what they did and we can use some of it. So here's the first one. I was rushing to go to the market one day. I had a lot of meetings. I didn't really have a lot of time, and I just ran to a nearby market. It's primarily mostly fresh produce and fresh things. They have a nice bakery and deli counter and all that kind of stuff. They sell other staples, but it's primarily focused around fresh food and things like that. So I knew what I needed. I was just going to run in and grab a few things for lunch and dinner and be on my way. So that's what I did. I know where things are. I ran in the store. I went over to the deli area and I was like, oh, tuna salad. I see the case with the tuna salad and I just pick it up and I pick up my other items and I head to the cashier. At which point she starts ringing up the stuff and she looks at me and she goes, hey, did you know that with this tuna salad, you get a box of free croissants? And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. And she says, oh, well, while I'm finishing ringing you up, why don't you just run back and grab a box and, they'll make really good sandwiches. Now, she did two things there that we sometimes shy away from, I'm going to even say, in learning. The first was she reminded me. Now, it turns out when I went back to get the croissants, there was a big sign. There was a big sign there. There were instructions. And how many times have we said, well, the learners just need to read the instructions. And why didn't they read the instructions? And there's a lot of reasons. In my case, I was in a hurry. I did not stop and read the very large sign that was sitting there right above the case where I picked up the tuna salad that said, free croissants when you buy tuna salad. It was very obvious. If I had been at all paying attention, I would have seen it. So that's one thing is sometimes we do need to remind people. It's okay to remind people. That's not unless your course is about, them learning to read instructions. I'm not suggesting they shouldn't. They should be accountable for their learning. But we also have to accept that people are human and sometimes they miss something. We also have to admit as learning developers that sometimes our instructions weren't as good as they could have been. Maybe they weren't placed well. These happen to be, but maybe they hadn't been. Maybe they didn't have the sign in the right spot, or maybe it was worded confusingly, or things like that. So we should be honest with ourselves too, and always be taking a look to make sure that what we are putting out there is the best interpretation of what it is. So that was the first thing was she reminded me, and that's okay. And that's a big gameful thing. We remind people, that's nudges and hints, and we do all those sorts of things with gameful learning. That's one thing. She also said, this will make a great sandwich. She showed me the benefit of going back and getting the box of croissants. Now, I could have said no. I could have said, you know what? I don't like croissants. I can't eat croissants. I don't really care. I could have said anything. I did go back and get them, but I didn't have to. I had a choice. But she gave me that future vision. She was like, hey, you can make a really great sandwich with this. And that's something else we don't always do in our learning designs. Sometimes we explain to people what they need to learn, but we don't always help them connect all of the dots. And sometimes the dots are not as obvious. Sometimes why you're learning something is really obvious. There's a new software system. You need to understand what buttons to click. You need to understand what the changes are between the old system and the new system. That may be obvious. What may not be obvious is that in the new system, there's this great new feature that's going to save you a ton of time, or if you do something slightly differently, you're going to get this great new result. There's lots of other things that sometimes we don't help people connect the dots to. So that's the first one. That was my first story. Now, the second one, in case you don't like tuna salad, maybe you like pizza. I know I do. So we'll work for pizza. Um, so the second story has to do with a local pizza place in New Orleans. And I found them actually after Hurricane Ida last year. I was thrilled that something was open and I could order some food. I was so excited. And they have really good pizza, and the service has always been really great. So I continue to go there. Now, what I also continue to do is I order my pizza online usually. And on the form, they have a little box. And you see this on you see it on some order forms, you'll see it at hotels, you'll see it in certain other settings that says, do you have any special requests? Or do you, any other comments or notes or, anything like that? And so I started because I discovered them during a time that was a little stressful, we'll say, for people where we didn't have power in many cases, and the city was kind of, recovering from the hurricane. So I started leaving little happy notes there, I'll call them. So I would just write little notes. I would say, thank you so much for making such great pizza. And, I'm so excited that, you're there. And, I just, whatever. Each time I would write little notes every time I ordered. And the one time when the delivery person came, he was either the manager, the owner, somebody, I don't remember exactly. This was a while back. When he got out of the car, he said, I saw your note and I showed it to everybody. So that's something else to think about. Recognition. How do we use recognition in things we create? That little thing, I just wrote a little happy thing that just said, have a nice day, basically, or something. It wasn't anything tremendous, but it was a recognition. I showed some appreciation, and we can use things like that in our learning. And particularly when you can let peers do some recognition for one another, anything like that. So think about ways you could use something like that. Now, they took it to a whole nother level the last time I ordered, and the pizzas were delivered, and there were 2 boxes, and I remember I took the first box, I moved the first box, and there was this thing on top of the second one, and I thought, "Oh, that's probably just the receipt taped to the box." I look at it, and they had actually taken a piece of deli paper, and they had written me a handwritten note back. Well, yeah, I'm gonna keep ordering pizza from them. I would have anyway, but it was such an amazing thing. It took them all of 10 seconds probably. It was not, it didn't take a long time. But again, that personal touch that they did. So anytime you can add little things like that, that personal message, that personal touch. Years ago, did a very long course, and part of it was we encouraged people to send emails to their peers recognizing customer service. It did happen to be a customer service course, and those were some of the most powerful and motivating parts of the program. So people remained much more engaged because now they were getting recognition, they were bonding with their peers, they were having some social interactions, some social capital. There was all this wonderful stuff going on with this very simple thing. So, those are your reminders for today. Um, just think about ways that you can make it clear what you want people to do. Get the croissants, make it clear. Be okay with giving them reminders, show them the benefits, and then show appreciation, recognize, and just those little personal things. So, hope these tips give you some ideas. If they do, let me know what you did with them because I that's my favorite part of all of this. I can sit here and tell stories all day, but it's when I get the stories back and I hear what you did with this information or what idea it sparked for you. That's where the real winning happens for me. So, anyway, until next time, I'm going to go and find some food or pizza or something. See you soon.